If the question is about the SEO industry being kind of disrupted by AEO, GEO, and you have to kind of keep up, then you have to keep up because
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Jolly SEO's TLDR. And very exciting episode here. We have Tim Soulo, the CMO of Ahrefs. Tim, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Hey, Greg, thanks a lot for having me.
Absolutely. Tim, I want to tell you, at a conference last month, somebody came up to me raving about my content quality. They said they love my content. I was totally taken aback. I said, thank you so much. They pulled up their phone. They said, yeah, I love all this. Actually, they thought I was you. And it was all of your content and Ahrefs content. So just want you to know, you have a lot of admirers here in China. I swear I did clarify that I am not actually Tim Soulo of Ahrefs. But if you ever come over to China, you're going to have a lot of fans waiting for you.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So listen, not just to flatter you all episode, but you have on your LinkedIn profile that you like to question all marketing best practices. And I think that's especially relevant today. We are at closing out 2025 here. And all of us who have SEO in our brand name or who work in SEO are thinking about GEO, AIO, AEO. What are the best practices, right? So as an Ahrefs user, and we have been big advocates of Ahrefs for 5+ years now, I can see the developments in the tool. I can see that Ahrefs is thinking forward. What for you as you're stewarding a much bigger brand than I am, but some of our audience work with pretty big brands as well. What are some of the best practices you have found this year that actually you do need to do away with and pivot towards something new for next year?
I don't think much change, to be honest, because there are two camps right now, as far as I can see in the industry. One camp is AEO or GEO, like answer engine optimization or generative engine optimization, is a completely new thing. It's entirely different from SEO. And another camp is saying that AEO is basically the same as SEO. So I'm in the latter camp. I think that AEO is like 90% SEO. All the tactics are the same. The only difference is that with ranking, with showing up in ChatGPT and other like LLMs, AI assistants, what you do on your own website matters a bit less, and what you do on the websites of other people, so-called digital PR, guest posting, and all those things, matters a bit more. Because, as we already know, when ChatGPT performs web searches, they pull information from a lot of citations. They don't, like with Google, whoever ranks top 3 gets all the clicks, gets all the traffic. So you wanted your website, your pages to rank in top 3. While smarter people were building like little empires, and they wanted their brand and their product mentioned in result number 2, number 3, number 4. So a lot of people were already doing that. They were getting themselves mentioned not just in one top ranking page, but in all top ranking pages possible. And that is what's happening with the shift to AI search engines, because they pull information from many sources. You want to get as many mentions all around the web as possible. We've seen so far that Some AI systems would rely on ChatGPT a lot, and marketers went spamming ChatGPT. We've seen information taking from YouTube videos. So a lot of marketers are now, a lot of SEO professionals are now trying to create some content on YouTube. So yeah, you have to be present in many more places right now to be consistently mentioned by AI. That's what has changed and didn't change, depending on like what you were doing in the past 10
Yeah.
years.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to get right back to it. Real quick, if you're not sure how you're showing up in AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and the like, click on that first link in the description. If you fill that out for us, we'll send you your own AI visibility report and see how we can help you boost your results. All right, without further ado, remember that link and enjoy the rest of the show. Yeah, exactly. And it's tough for newer brands to hear you need to be in all the places. It's a tough pill to swallow, but as you said, it's kind of new, but not really. So the more bandwidth you have to expand into a new platform, we're on episode maybe 30 now on YouTube, but even for us, it's been an on and off struggle over the years to keep it up and keep it going. And so I'm very sympathetic. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but Ahrefs has a new feature, Brand Radar, right? And we're talking about co-citations, having your brand mentioned alongside other brands. Not necessarily backlinks are paramount, but certainly offsite has this resurgence. But for the traditional SEOs who are trying to adapt and into AEO or GEO, even though it's mostly the same, there are some other offsite, let's say, targets they may have where they want to build their brand reputation to flesh out their entity. What are some common platforms that the traditional minded SEO now needs to think about getting their brand or their clients' brands in these offsite locations?
Yeah, I think common places to get citations would be different by industry, and that's exactly why tools like Ahrefs Brand Radar make sense and help you with your AI search strategy. It's because when you enter your competitor, you can see what citations, which websites or which pages AI assistants take information from when your competitor is getting mentioned, or even not your competitor, because what you can do with Brand Radar, you can put in any keyword.
Right.
So you can put in, I don't know, cat food, or you can put legal services, or whatever your industry is. You can put this into Brand Radar. You can get a lot of prompts and AI responses that mention that keyword. And you can see which pages and which websites AI assistants are getting this information from. So, and this is not set in stone because, like I said, we saw that Reddit was heavily cited in, I think it was in ChatGPT, I don't remember exactly, but we have published quite a few studies on Ahrefs' blog. And at some point, we saw that Reddit was heavily mentioned in ChatGPT, but it seems that not anymore. At least officially, we don't see that many citations. And I believe as these AI systems are fine-tuning their kind of information extraction, the sources where they take information, where they will be taking information from, are likely to change. So this month, they're like heavily relying on these websites. Next month, it could be something different. It's the same as with Google algorithm updates. So in the past 10 years, we went through a lot of iterations. Okay, now Google loves this kind of thing. Now Google doesn't love this, they love this. Now they switched into this. Now this is what works. I feel it would be exactly the same in ChatGPT. They would change what information they use in their answers. They would change where they take this information from. But let's not forget that AI assistants are not search engines, so they don't have their index of the web yet because it takes a lot of resources and a lot of industry kind of domain knowledge to be able to crawl the entire web and to crawl it consistently so that when pages update, you pick up the updates. This is what Ahrefs has been doing for over 10 years, and this is incredibly hard to do. So yeah, let's not forget that AI assistants, that LLMs, they don't have their own web crawler, they don't have their own index of the web, which is why they need to rely to existing systems. And this is why Google recently has kept their search results for just top 10 and not top 100, because they were closing in on ChatGPT and alternatives, because they felt threatened by the competition, that people are using ChatGPT as a search engine, but ChatGPT doesn't have their own search engine capability. So they are still relying on traditional search, and whatever works in traditional search, it's kind of by proxy works in those AI systems. But again, this is still wild, wild west. We still need to observe, like every week there's something new, something changes. And yeah, this is exactly why you want to be keeping tabs, looking at your visibility in AI and looking where it comes from, what citation it is coming from, how are you mentioned next to your competitors, who's leading, where this is all coming from. So yeah, you just like we did with Google, we just have to keep up with all the changes.
That's
That's
right.
it.
Yeah. And a common thing among SEOs is frustration that these GEO experts born overnight are really just mostly doing the same thing as SEOs, but actually, it's just an opportunity for us to connect with a whole new segment of the market, is how I see it. And yeah, maybe we do need to play the game a little bit. We certainly are a little slow. You won't see enough GEO, AEO, AIO on our website, but I think you guys have done a better job while maintaining transparency that, as you said, we're all learning week to week about the changing
Yeah.
situation. I want to talk about not just search in general, but your company. And, we have been, I don't know compared to other users as a power user, but a strong user for almost as long as you guys have been around, about 7, 8 years. And if you remember in your earlier years, you guys were the new cool kid on the block, right? And then you're the CMO, so you have a better sense than I do as a user in the community. But then the pendulum swung back and you guys got some backlash. I think every company as it matures will experience this. You naturally need to sunset legacy pricing or an old feature, and the old school users are upset. Uh, Easy for me to observe as just a user, but you're the CMO. So I imagine there was a lot of hard work that went into, if we call it reputation or community management. Um, right now, Ahrefs seems like in a very strong position to me. We talked about brand radar and some other new features, but it seems like despite, what is it now, 30, 40, 50 new GEO tools have entered the market this year. Uh, Obviously, SEMrush hasn't gone anywhere. It's still a big player, IPO'd, and but you guys are still right there at the top of everyone's mind. Do you have any advice for some of us who are weathering? It was a hard year for SEOs, year and a half, let's say, since the Reddit deal in early 2024. Do you have any advice for us who maybe it's not just about our brand, maybe it is, but we're just trying to weather like the SEO industry brand reputation hit that has happened in the past year? And just from your learnings of, it seems to me from the outside, you all did a great job. You have a lot of respect in the community.
Uh, your question doesn't seem specific, so I cannot give you a specific answer. But to me, like if the question is about the SEO industry being kind of disrupted by AEO, GEO, and you have to kind of keep up, then you have to keep up. Then you have to release the relevant features, relevant content, relevant data, because yeah, it feels that right now all people are interested in is AI. And again, we're on a podcast right now. We're on your podcast, but there's a podcast that I'm hosting. It's called the Ahrefs podcast. And what I've noticed is I'm going to publish this week the statistics of top 5 episodes from the last season that we've done, and 4 of the top 5 episodes are about AI. So it's just like talking about AI from different angles. This is all that people want to talk about. And yeah, you have to give them that. Even though I was fairly conservative with my stance on AI, I don't think anyone who is following my content and my ideas can call me AI hype man. I was always quite conservative, and I was always taking the stance of like, okay, but show me what it actually can automate. And this was what I was trying to do on the podcast. But you still have to like follow the trend. If everyone wants to talk about AI, if everyone wants to use AI tools, you have to dig in this direction. So I think that's the answer to the question. You have to follow the trend, but yeah, don't overpromise. Don't make false claims. Don't be like a hype man with empty promises. But do like join the conversation that is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I first of all, thank you for calling me out on, you got to ask a good question to get a good answer. But I appreciate that you gave your perspective, because that's exactly what I was looking for is how are you thinking? It's been a balancing act for a lot of us. We didn't want to be the overnight GEO expert just pretending. But as you say, in my client calls, these recent weeks, I just transparently share with the clients, this is what we know. We do have a 12-page SOP, but quite frankly, it's hard to say beyond the actual work we are doing as deliverables. We can't really promise you XYZ as a ROI for this kind of work right now. Directionally, we think we're in the right direction, but would I be speaking truthfully if I promised you what the results will be in January? Not really. I appreciate that you need to join the conversation. One way that you do that is by actually knowing what it is, staying in touch with the market. You have this post on your LinkedIn from actually 2 years ago now, so it might be dated, but I really want to follow up. Do you still require all the new marketing hires to work in the customer service department at Ahrefs?
Yeah. In the original post, it said
Yes.
2 months, but since then we realized that 2 months is a little bit long, so we shortened this to 1 month. But yeah, recently Glenn Alsop, one of the very famous figures in the SEO space, has joined Ahrefs because we acquired his
Awesome.
projects and we brought him in as an employee of Ahrefs. And he spent his first month in support. And I was wondering if a lot of people would realize that the Glenn that is answering their questions in support chat is the Glenn. But I think, I think no one really posted it on social media. Like, oh, I was just chatting with Glenn at Ahrefs support. So yeah, we do this even for super experienced people like Glenn, because it's just like it's the best way to onboard new marketers to our
Yeah,
team.
I love that Glenn did not have too much ego to accept that he was.
No, he has zero ego.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've yet to meet him. Uh, I know that at points in our little company's history, I have let myself get too big of an ego to think that somehow I'm above interacting with our clients. And this year has been such a great gift to me to reconnect with the clients, to understand what value we can bring to them now that we need to think about Reddit and other platforms we weren't supporting them on. Uh, Tim, my favorite question at the end of every episode, not that we're there quite yet, but I love to know, what did I not ask you that you think it's a shame he didn't ask me about this? I don't understand why we're closing out and he didn't even ask.
I don't know. Like right now, my hottest take is probably the AI bubble. I don't feel that all the AI promises that we're seeing around uh, are going to deliver on those promises. And I think that a lot of companies who are creating some AI products are just pure hype. They're they're like putting together 3 prompts to AI and they're packaging it as if it's some like groundbreaking product. this frustrates me and infuriates me because at Ahrefs we cannot afford to do this kind of thing. We already have a reputation. People trust us, and we cannot just bullshit people into buying something that is where there's no product. They're just like a bunch of prompts that you buy for like a couple $100. And I think this is my biggest frustration with the industry right now. There's just too many empty promises, which does have an impact on someone like Ahrefs because we are very grounded, we are very trustworthy, we're very honest. And this is why we're not screaming everywhere, oh, like we're making a revolution in SEO. Because we're like, yeah, like ranking in AI search has its differences, but it's essentially the same. So yeah, and I'm of course jealous of some of the companies that are like hyping up themselves too much and like seeing people talk about them, but I cannot do the same because we have a reputation. For them, their only goal is for people to talk about them. So they're happy when people are calling them out. This is why I'm not naming anyone specifically. I don't want to name names. But for us, if people start talking, oh, Ahrefs is like promoting this product, but it's actually bullshit, that affects our reputation, and we don't want people to stop trusting the things that we do at
Yeah,
Ahrefs.
not only are these smaller players temporarily taking a little market share from established players like Ahrefs, but they're also tarnishing the reputation of the industry because invariably the customers will have a bad experience with the tool and apply that to the whole industry. What, although you and, to a much smaller extent, we've been around for 8 years, a company like ours, I talked about, we can't just be overnight geo experts. So similar issues, although different. What is the recourse for an Ahrefs though? You, as you said, you can't go out naming these. This doesn't look good for you either. In addition to giving them that PR, you are staying on the forefront, releasing tools. What else can you do as a marketer for your brand?
We're doing tons of research. We're studying the data that we have, and we're sharing the insights with people, and we're saying this is how things actually are. For example, this is how much traffic you can get from ChatGPT from their citations that they're displaying. Or like this is how big ChatGPT compared to Google. Or like this is what gets you mentioned in ChatGPT based on the data that we see. We're just publishing just insane amount of research. I think this year we published more different research studies than in past 10 years of Ahrefs. And a lot of these data studies are getting quite some traction in the industry, and people see us as a trustworthy voice that backs up our claims with data. I think this is really
Yeah,
helping us.
I obviously am not fully aware of how things work inside your company, but on LinkedIn, almost every, shall we call them mini SEO influencer, is citing Ahrefs data and Ahrefs content on a weekly basis at this point. I see a new article from you guys with new data points. So very cool approach.
Yeah, we see our content mentioned in speakers' presentations at different conferences. So people do pay attention to our research. They do trust us. And this is all what matters for us. We want to stay a trusted voice in the industry. We don't want to be a hype man of the industry. We want to be a
That's
trusted
right.
voice.
Well, I certainly have for years trusted Ahrefs data. We present it to our clients in our reporting. For those of us listening, just getting to know Ahrefs and want to learn more from you, Tim, we have the Ahrefs podcast on YouTube. Where else can people look you up and look up Ahrefs?
Just my LinkedIn. Right now, I'm most active on LinkedIn and post all my thoughts and ideas there.
Awesome. Tim, thank you again for taking the time. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks a lot for inviting me,
Absolutely.
Greg.